TikTok, it's time to rock. Welcome to the show, folks. Welcome to the Ranking the Tracks, the 5150 show, the all things British Electric Blues show. And at the moment, this show is the Andrew and Brad show.
Yeah, TikTok, it's time to rock, the Andrew and Brad show. What does Philip say in that little snippet, Andrew? You're with the 5150 show with Brad and Andrew. All right.
Hey, this is Philip Sace, and you are watching the 5150 show with Brad and Andrew. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Philip. We appreciate that. We know you watch
it literally is the Brad and Andrew show because it's only you and I here. There's no one in the chat, bro.
Well, they'll come. That's all right. But hey, the Brad and Andrew show, it doesn't matter if there's one person here or 50. We're going to have a good time, Andrew. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
We're a bit late.
That's right.
That might be the reason why. So,
that everyone's just too lazy to be on time, including us. No, we were doing stuff behind the background. But one thing, though, that we'll always do on this show, folks, and it's a thing that we got from watching the Led Zeppelin thing, and it was something that we always agreed. Doing these shows, it's like a gig. It's like a gig. You prepare yourself for the gig, and you come to the gig, and you sit here, and you present yourself. It's like a gig. And Led Zeppelin said that whether they were playing in front of 5 people or 50,000 people, Brad, they were always going to at least play for each other.
And that they did. And that is exactly what we're going to do. But I can see a few people popping in now, so it's to be expected. We're going to get a few people drop in. Andrew, we've got Steve Anderson. Good to see you, Steve. An old favorite on the show. Steve is always our Van Halen guru with guitars and whatnot. So it was great to have you on, Steve. Good to see you. Randy Sellers. Is that Randy Sellers? Thank you, Randy, for joining us. We'll get to doing a bit of a shout out a bit later, Andrew. But we've got another shout out to do to our friend Caleb from Nerd Halen, Andrew, with his GoFundMe.
Good point, bro. So just hold on, folks.
Yeah, pull it up.
So our friend Nerd Halen, folks, and we'll put a link to his GoFundMe soon here in the chat. If you don't already have it, is at 66,500K. The goal that's presently set on this GoFundMe is 70, but obviously we want to sort of push it up to 100K. So if you can spare a couple of dollars, if you know who Caleb is, he's also known as Nerd Halen, a very good friend of the show.
Yes.
Go and support him if you can. We want to ask you to do that. We're not scared to ask people to do things on this channel, bro.
Especially when they got some meaning like this behind it. Caleb and his family suffered a major loss in the Los Angeles fires, the California fires. And he's got a GoFundMe there, and we just want to see that get up as high as possible, Andrew. I think it's getting close to his goal that he set on GoFundMe, but we'd love to see it exceed that if we can be, able to push anyone that's watching this at the moment or watching the replay. Please go and Andrew will share the link to that in the comment section, I'm sure, won't you, later?
Yeah, there'll always be a link attached to that. And when I stop talking, I'll get a link and put it here in the chat for you folks here. If John pops in the next couple of minutes, I'm sure he'll do that. He likes doing that stuff for us. And bro, so why is it the Brad and Andrew show?
The Brad and Andrew show, our good. Our better third of the group here of the 5150 show. I was going to say our better half, but he's actually a third. So our better third of the show. So the rock professor, he's off with an injury, so we want to wish him a speedy recovery. It's not nice to have an accident and be in a lot of pain and whatnot. So we definitely want to see you get much better and join us as soon as you can, Simon, because we miss you. we miss you, brother. So we want you back on the show as soon as you're able to join us again. Speedy recovery and much love and prayers to you, my friend. From Andrew and Brad.
From the Brad and Andrew show. If you're friends with Simon on social media, on his Instagram and or Facebook, pop over there and flick him a message. He'll be keen to get hold of you. So there's some Instagram accounts here for you to follow. Brad Cook Music, easy peasy Japanesey.
Yeah.
He's rock professor there. Simon Williams 33. You can find the rock professor over there. ZD351 Music, John ZD351, our dear brother, and we'll be talking very soon.
Yep.
And also another great Aussie, an Australian, Zach Zedris, good friend of ours, Zach, with a double K __ Zedris.
Good old Zachy Zedris of Chocolate Starfish.
What a dude. So last week, folks, we had John ZD351 on the show because Brad was doing a gig, and also happy birthday, bro, face to face. I know it's been a little bit over a week, but when you get to our age, you know, you can spread birthdays over a couple of weeks if you want.
Well, I'm still enjoying my birthday as we speak. Yeah, I'll be enjoying it for a year, but I'm not having any more. I'm just going to live as it for eternity. I'm not going to age a day after today. That's it. Stay the same age.
That's the way. That's the way, bro.
At least,
birthday.
Yeah, at least in my heart, I'll be this age forever.
Fantastic. And we had John ZD351 fill in for us. And we were going to rank Nebraska with the rock professor, but that was the first week of the rock professor's injury. So Brad and I, John and I decided that we'd get together and we'd talk about the album. And that was really great. That was fantastic. It was a great show, about 140, 150 views on that. So I urge you, please, to go and check that out if you're a Bruce Springsteen fan. We're developing a bit of a catalogue here on the channel on Bruce Springsteen shows. So thank you, John, for driving that, and the Rock Professor, because they are our resident Bruce Springsteen fanatics.
Yes.
And I do enjoy them taking part and leading the charge on those shows, Brad.
That's great. I watched the playback. Andrew, I wasn't able to obviously watch it when you were live, but it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. John did a great job, and I learned a lot watching it because I'm not a massive Bruce Springsteen. I love Bruce Springsteen's music, but I don't give him enough time, if that makes sense, because I'm busy listening to things like today's album that gets in the way. But I'll definitely, I love hearing people talk passionately about music, what they're into. It's like I was trying to explain to band members this weekend. I had a gig last night in Sydney, and I was explaining to them, go and watch Becoming Led Zeppelin. Even if you're not a massive Zeppelin fan, you'll love it because it's a very passionate music film documentary. And I get the same feeling when I watch people like John and yourself and Simon talk about, like, Bruce Springsteen. I get quite a bit out of it, Andrew, because a lot more than I've ever sort of given enough credit to him for. So, yeah.
Yeah, well done, bro, because I'm in your category too, because you and I both come from that perspective. We've had a lot of chats about this. So I'm learning as well. I only know a couple of albums, and Nebraska was certainly one. But I look forward to the film because we love the films as well. Yep. Any films that are attached to. So we do look forward to that. So thank you, John, for driving that forward. And I also, a couple of days later, did a how much money does this channel make and how much money does YouTube get? So I got some interesting comments from people about that, because basically people's view and of what YouTube is. There were some interesting comments were not what people thought. And I just want to basically boil it down to the fact that if you do this, It's a hobby.
That's it. You do it
That's
for the
it.
love. Yeah.
Correct.
Simon gave me a call, actually FaceTime me, and he said, I think we've got to get on to the boss's backer now and start, putting our hand out for a paycheck. He wants to buy a house in Italy, apparently. So, yeah.
Don't we all? Yeah. But realistically, folks, when we ask for subscribers, it's a status thing. That's one thing that YouTube channel creators will tell you. One of the great things about having a YouTube channel is the subscribers to your channel. That's the benchmark, and we'll always push that because we were always patting ourselves on the back when we reached these goals. That people were at least, interested in some of the things that we were talking about. And I just want to reiterate the point too, that we don't push channel memberships on here. If you want to become a channel member, we appreciate that. And if you want to give us a super chat or whatever, we appreciate that. But we'll never sit here and remind you 20 times during these shows, bro, to do that. And we won't have flicking lights behind us, or any effect, that other channels have, or to try and create that. We're going to leave that entirely up to you, folks. The only thing we're going to ask you for is a subscription to our channel and a subscription to our friends, please. That's it.
Yeah, and share our channel around if you enjoy what we're doing. Get the word out there and spread it. So it's organic reach, and we get the right people here. We've got a wonderful community, Andrew. We've got a wonderful community that joins us here each week. And even if they're not in the chat at the present, Andrew, even the comments later, we've got Derek Clapton. There's a bunch of guys that participate after the show when they watch it back. And we really appreciate that as well, Andrew.
We realize that we can't be in everybody's time zone. We get that. We appreciate that. This is the best time zone that works for myself and for Brad and for the Rock Professor. Brad and I, it's a little bit easier for us because it's later in the day, but the Rock Professor will always be grateful to the Rock Professor because he has to get up in the morning and do this, which is always, from my perspective, that would always be a little bit difficult. So, but it's the best time zone that we've got, and we know that it doesn't work for a lot of people, but jeepers, we've got no control over that, bro, have we?
None. But we do appreciate that, Rock Professor, you getting up at the crack of dawn, because I'm not a morning person, even though I seem to get up at 5:36 every morning. But yeah, I'm not a morning person.
Well, he's retired now, so he's got no excuse, bro. Yeah,
that's our excuse, Andrew. That's our excuse.
Speaking of being positive and also having control over things and asking people to do things, we have, and we've always talked about this. If you're not aware, Brad and I and the Rock Professor, we have some other social media accounts that are linked to this channel. There's a couple of Facebook groups that we're admins on, and this is one. Just bear with me, folks. I'm going to present this. This is one that we. Can you see that we presented? Sorry, that we. Just give me a second, bro.
You're right.
That we are associated with. It's called our All Things Peter Green page, and I'll put a link to that if you want to join us on that. It just reached 9,000 subscribers on that Facebook group, bro, a couple of days ago.
Congrats.
So we're really, really proud of that. This is the page that we have that we put, obviously, pictures, photos, and videos of Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. And every now and again, when you're involved on social media, folks, you're going to have comments from people that are always going to be a little bit negative. So a couple of days ago, I posted this guy here playing some Peter Green stuff, a guy called Remy Harris. So I'm not going to play the audio because
We'll
we'll
get
get
flagged.
probably.
Yep. We'll get flagged.
What is it? We'll get flagged because Fleetwood Mac are notorious for that. But I posted that, and there's a comment here by a guy called James Nunn, who's a member of the group, called Not Even Close. And I've made a comment here. Thanks for your negative attitude. Another admin guy who I know that's in the UK called Jack put the comment wanker, which is okay. He's fine. He's one of the admins on the group. He's been with us right from the word go. I know who he is. We've FaceTimed a couple of times over the years, Brad. And this James guy has replied back, "If you both, he's opposite the fluid. No way near Peter." And the problem is, Brad, our Facebook group has never been a temple. It's not about worshipping the ground on Peter Green. It's about paying tribute to him and celebrating his music. And it's about sharing video clips of people doing their versions of Peter Green and Fleetwood Mac songs that clearly, Brad, 90% of people from our Facebook group that watch enjoys.
Yeah.
But every now and again we get a guy. So I'm going to do this live. Going to ban him. Remove comment and ban.
That's it. Bye-bye. Good riddance.
Gone.
Good riddance. Yeah, there's no need for negativity. Andrew and I were talking about it in the green room before we jumped on, and one of the things I said was, can you imagine if that was your child that had posted something of themselves playing? They're a beginner. They're just learning the instrument, Andrew, and they've posted something online to share it because they're so proud of their achievement. And then someone like that comes on and spreads their toxicity and negativity, and would probably undo a lot of confidence of the person who posted it as well. You know what I mean? Or if you shared something, Andrew, for example, if you share, I think you shared that one, didn't you? Say for example, you shared something of, like, hypothetically, my son singing, and someone said, that doesn't sound like whomever he's singing. That's not necessarily anybody's business. If he's singing it the way he wants to sing it, that's fine. The guitarist is playing it the way he wants to play it to the best of his ability. He might not want to sound like Peter Green. He might want to just play the Peter Green song his way. Classic example of that is look at Led Zeppelin, what they used to do with songs that they liked. They do it their way. ZZ Top, they did it there. How many times have you heard ZZ Top play Foxy Lady? It's nothing like Hendrix's version. You know what I mean? Big deal.
Well, yeah. I get it, bro. And yeah, I get it. And I think your point is extremely important, and we want to make that quite clear. And we've set the benchmark here. If you're going to be involved in, look, we're not censoring comments. We want people to be critical, Yep. But there's ways and means, obviously, how to do it. You could, but you're not going to be able to, on our social media accounts now, make those kind of comments and participate in our accounts. You're gone. That's it.
There's no need for it, Andrew. Exactly. Boost people up. Stop knocking them down from the ankles. That's how I always say it. Always give compliments. Be kind. Considerate. That's why we've got such a wonderful community on here, Andrew. We're knuckleheads, and we get people to say that they love us. So, and we get people like Jimmy Ray Hawkins who just give us a super chat. So thank you so much, Jimmy Ray Hawkins. We truly appreciate it. And that's all I've got to say about that, Andrew. I think you did the dirty deed and banned. Done.
Yeah, well, that's right. Thank you, bro. And we decided that we're going to do that. But yeah, if you want to participate on on things that are associated with our channel here. Yes, by all means, I want to reiterate that. Yes, by all means, offer some criticism about something. Yes, yeah, but we're all clever enough to know that when you're having a go at somebody or something, as opposed to saying, well, look, there's lots of ways to say things. But we've got John ZD351 here in the chat saying, g'day, bro. So I'm going to get you, if you've got the chat up, to do the shout out, because the Rock Professor's not here.
Yeah, I'll do the Rock Professor's dirty work. How's that? Yeah, he's not here, so I'll pick up the pieces.
Oh,
yes, John ZD351, thank you for joining us. And once again, I'll say it, you weren't online before, but thank you very much, brother, for joining Andrew last week. So you did an amazing job, as usual. We've got Gretch Zeppelin in the chat. Thank you very much. We've got Bent Tom. Good to see you, Bent. We've got Dwight Bailey. Thank you for joining us. We've got my mother, Ellen Toll, wishing all the prayers and everything for family members in hospital still at the moment. So, yeah, pass that on to the relevant person, and much love and prayers from us at the 5150 show, including Simon, because I know he would want to pass that on. We have Digital Guitars UK. We have. I said Jimmy Ray Hawkins. Thank you very much. I'll say it again, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, because he gave us a super chat. We really appreciate it. We also have, at the start of the chat, there's been a few people. Randy Salles, thank you for joining us. And Steve Anderson, I acknowledged you before, but again, thank you for joining us. And always a pleasure to have you back on the show, Steve. Yeah, that's who everyone's commented at the moment, Andrew. But there's a few lurkers, so if you want us to give you a shout out, yeah, throw us a comment and we will give you a shout out on live. Andrew.
Yeah, well done. Thank you, bro, for doing that. And again, John ZD351 is talking about what we just did there before. Play the ball, not the man. Exactly. That's yeah. If you want to participate on your social media accounts, that's what you're going to be doing from now on. No more warnings. You're gone.
and that's the boss man, big boss man Andrew, telling you, done. Bye-bye.
Oh no, I didn't, Bent. I didn't watch that, but I watched Spurs beat Ipswich 4-1. I had to get up early in the morning and watch that. Oh, and then I went to the beach. Oh, and then I was late for the show. Oh.
Hey, those pictures you posted look pretty good, Andrew.
Oh, mate, I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, I wish I could live by the beach, bro. Oh.
Well, that's a dream of mine. It'll come true one day. You just got to dream big, Andrew.
You got it. Spurs are Bent's team. Glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspurs. That's the way, Bent. Thick and thin, brother. Thick and thin. Okay, so let's kick the show off, bro. We've been hanging around for 30 minutes, bro, talking.
24 minutes and not even a word of mention of the show we're doing today. Very professional. That's why we need the Rock Professor here to slap us back around, push us back into shape. Andrew, I picked an album that's very close to my heart and my son's heart. He absolutely adores this band, Black Country Communion. He loves Glenn Hughes, would have to be probably right up there as his favorite singer of all time. He just gets so excited every time he listens to Glenn Hughes sing. And I shared some things with him this week, listening to this record. And we went back and watched live in Europe as well, Andrew. We went back and watched that. But this album, Communion, Black Country Communion 2, yeah. So that's kind of like a live, what would you say? It's just like a bit of a few different gigs. They're playing a bit of a combination of the first record and the second record together, different songs from that in their set. And it's phenomenal to watch, Andrew. And it's not far away from what you're listening to on the records. And that's what I love, Andrew. It's you can tell on these records, I reckon a lot of the beds recorded, the bass drums, guitars, keyboards, a lot of them would be recorded live without a doubt. And I'm pretty sure their producer would have pushed it that way, because that was the whole point behind Black Country Communion, was to do a band that was like back in the day type bands, the classic rock bands of the 70s, or what I like to call the supergroups of the 70s. And this is a supergroup of the, 20th century. It's Black Country Communion is a phenomenal band. This is their second record. It's called Black Country Communion 2. It's building on the foundations laid by their debut album, in my opinion. It's an album that showcases the band's evolving chemistry, the refined songwriting, and deeper exploration of blues-infused rock. Kevin Shirley was their producer, and it was recorded in East West Studios, Hollywood, California, and released June 13, 2011. In Europe, it was released June 14, in North America as well. The album reached 23 on the UK charts and 71 on the US Billboard charts, solidifying the band's presence in the hard rock scene in what is considered to be a very hard industry for this type of music in this day and age, Andrew. The writing process for this album, Black Country Communion 2, began even before the release of the band's debut album in 2010. Bassist and lead vocalist Glenn Hughes, who I spoke about before, along with Joe Bonamassa, led the songwriting efforts, with producer Kevin Shirley taking a more active role compared to the first album. Shirley contributed to almost every track, unlike the debut album, where his involvement was minimal in the songwriting on the first one. So the band members found the recording process smoother than their debut album. Obviously, they've been together a little while. The relationships had built stronger, and the chemistry had obviously flourished and grown. Hughes described the process as easier due to that chemistry amongst the musicians improving. Recording took only 2.5 weeks, with Bonamassa noting that the band had more time than they actually needed in the studio, and this efficiently allowed them to capture a raw, energetic sort of feel on the album's production. The production of the album sounds absolutely phenomenal. Kevin Shirley's production approach was centered on capturing the band's live energy, and we love that on this channel, Andrew. We love that. The majority of the tracks recorded in live takes with minimal overdubbing to retain that rawness of the performance. And that's pretty much what I was saying about watching that DVD, Andrew, live in Europe, that doesn't sound much different to the record. Obviously it's got its live element and improvised sections and whatnot, but the way that they play, it's got that sort of recording. They're so polished, is what I'm getting at. They're phenomenal. The album mix avoids excessive compression, which is something that floods the music industry these days. A lot of compression, maintaining more of an analog warmth, to give it more that classic rock vibe, and to sort of draw closer to the influences that they're obviously trying to chase with the musical style, Andrew. The band's performance on the album is dynamic. Glenn Hughes delivering, impassioned vocals and punchy bass lines. Bonamassa's, bluesy solos and hard-hitting riffs. Jason Bonham providing thunderous and precise drumming, and Sharinian enhancing the sound with rich keyboard textures. We all know that Derek is a phenomenal player, but he plays for the song, Andrew, on this on all these albums from Black Country Communion, but this one in particular. The album itself is obviously a blend of hard rock, blues, progressive elements, drawing from its influences such as Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple. I can hear a bit of Free, Cream, you name it, it's all in there, Andrew. It's all compacted into one nice little package called Black Country Communion. Compared to their first album, it's a little bit more structured and a bit more cohesive with the songwriting. Each track carrying a distinctive identity while maintaining that consistent sort of sonic theme. The album's sound is rooted in classic rock. The powerful riffs, soulful vocals, the intricate sort of keyboard work, and you know, Jason Bonham on the drums. I mean, you can't sort of get away from that Led Zeppelin feel at times. Obviously, he's heavily influenced by his father, so he provides that thunderous backbone, reminiscent of his father. But I think in this band, in particular, when this band came out, Andrew, I really saw Joe Bonamassa shine through. I know he's got a successful solo career, but this really gave him the opportunity to sit back and be a bit more of a lead guitarist in the band, and not be the whole package and having to drive the guitars, the vocals, the whole thing. He's obviously sitting back, playing guitar, doing a couple of songs here and there, and singing BVs. But you know, I think it gave him a little bit more freedom on the guitar, is what I'm saying, and I think he really shines on this album in particular. Black Country Communion, obviously, in my opinion, they're still out there. They're still, you know, they might have had a 7-year break at one point between albums, but they're obviously, you know, touring Europe this year, I believe, Andrew, and they've got some legs behind them. They're still going to be doing a lot. I think that the whole album stands as a testament to the band's ability to blend like that classic rock sound with a modern sort of sound and intensity. The album's refined the elements introduced in their debut album, but obviously a little bit more polished and cohesive collection of songs. We talk about it all the time on here, Andrew, about song listings and album flow and order of the songs. And I think this particular album, they nailed it with the song order and the flow of the record. It's phenomenal. There's some stellar musicianship, powerful vocals, timeless rock. You know, it's whether it's revisiting, you know, that sort of 70s vibe for the first time, or you living it because you love it. Black Country Communion continues to be a highlight in modern classic rock for me, Andrew. So that's my little summary on this record. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about it and I love it. So, Andrew, I want to ask you a question. Your thoughts on the album, maybe the first time you heard it. I think you got Black Country Communion 1 when that first came out. So this was the next one along. Did you know it was coming? Did you wait for it? I'm asking you about 5 questions in one here, but take the floor before I ask too many more questions. Andrew.
Yeah, like a lot of us, you know, we were anticipating this album when it came out. They made a big deal about it. You know, social media, 2010, 2011, you know, was making a big deal. You know, it was everywhere. And I certainly was looking forward to it with a couple of other friends at the time. And more importantly, and we'll probably talk a little bit about this when we go through the tracks, but more importantly, to see what Derek Sheridan was going to do again on this album. Because Dream Theater had just come out in 2010 with a dramatic turn of events, the first album that they did with Mike Mangini. So, you know, love Dream Theater, folks. Go and check out their latest album. Portnoy came back, and it was only dropped, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, bro. So go and check that out. But yeah, always a Sheridan fan. Obviously, these other guys in the band too, bro. Don't get me wrong. You know, they're important parts and keys to the band, and we'll talk about them during the tracks, obviously. But I was, you know, intrigued. I remember thinking at the time it'd be really cool to hear what Derek brings, and he didn't disappoint on this. I agree with your summation that this is a super group, because I remember us talking about that back in the day, that this was a super group. And if you look back now, today, knowing what and who Joe Bonamassa is, you have to make that kind of opinion, I think. And I want to do a shout out to Pete Flynn, who's been on our channel a couple of times. Well, certainly one time, and he's a good friend of Robert and Jeff's through the Peter Green book Fleetwood Mac book that they produced a couple of years ago, because there was a shout out that Joe Bonamassa did to some pickups that Pete Flynn did, bro, on a video. a couple of days ago. So well done, Pete Flynn.
Yeah.
And again, we put that on our social media accounts, and we get people saying, what the fuck is this connection with this guy here to these Facebook groups? And it's like, well, yeah, anyway, that's another story, bro. We're not talking about that anymore. But yeah.
No more banning today.
Yeah, no more banning. But yeah, to answer your question, bro, I was, I couldn't wait to get the album, and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah, it's a pretty great album, and hence why we're doing it. If you've got no more things you want to add to what I've done there, Andrew, maybe we can dive straight into the track rankings and that, because there's a few tracks on here. I've kept my rankings pretty brief, but I wanted to give that little just wanted to open up a little bit about that record, and the detail that I put in there was probably pretty important. I didn't want to skip a lot of that, Andrew, because it gives we can't play the music here, which is sad. We can't play it as samples because we'll get flagged. But to be as descriptive as possible in that little header there, Andrew, I thought was important. So
no problem, bro. And I'm just going to do a shout out to, before you kick off the rankings, to Helene, because she just dropped in.
Hello, Helene.
Hey, Helene. Good to see you. Thank you for jumping on board with us. So, yeah, bro, you did a wonderful intro. If you want to kick off the rankings, and as ever, we invite you to participate and share your rankings either live with us or in your comments if you're watching this in the future.
Yeah. So the first track of this epic album is called The Outsider. And wow, it's a hard-hitting opener, Andrew. Fast pace, tough as nails riff. It's a driving, explosive rhythm. That drumming from Jason Bonham is incredible. Glenn Hughes delivers powerhouse vocals. He's channeling a little bit of his Deep Purple era energy. Great lyrics. His bass playing is heavenly. It's heavenly on this whole album. I'm not going to continue to say it every single song. His bass playing is just as important as his vocals, and you've really got to focus on what he's playing between the notes of what Joe's playing and what he's playing in relation to what Jason Bonham's playing. He's been around a long time, Andrew. He knows exactly what to do. It would be no effort for him to play like this. He does such a great job. Joe Bonamassa's solo is fiery and fluid. There's some classic blues rock phrasing, and that he employs the wah pedal in there. The call and response stuff that he does with Derek on keyboards and the guitars, where they all do it. They do like a few bars each of a solo, and they go back and forwards to each other, is what we call call and response. Very Deep Purple. I'm picturing Richie Blackmore and John Lord. I'm not necessarily saying style-wise, but the elements there, that Deep Purple element is there. Jason Bonham's thunderous drumming is giving the track a very Zeppelin-like feel and swagger. Incredible keyboards from Derek. And the whole song has an explosive, high-energy rock feel to it. And it's a remarkable opening track for an album. The way the song comes in is phenomenal. I've given it, Andrew, nothing less than 100 out of 10. And we're straight off into a Brad score on this one, mate. Andrew.
Yeah, look, I got to agree with you, bro. I think it's a great vocals. You've nailed it with John Bonham's son, with Jason. He just has assumed that position of being a rock drummer, and this is a great example of it. We're big fans of Jason Bonham. So, Jason, if you're watching, we've got some pictures to show later on, and there's a couple of other pics as well that Brad wants to share with you from his Instagram account. So we'll keep that for the photos. But Jason, if you are watching, you want to come on and do a drum show with us, we'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
Bro, this is where, for me, on this track, it blew me away, and it has done for a long time. This is where Derek Sheridan involves himself heavily on this track. You know, the solo and the way that the keys play in with the solo, and then at that 3-minute and 6-second mark where you get that progressive rock Dream Theater solo going on, bro. It's very, very, very much a Dream Theater snip, and I love that. And every time I hear this song, I instantly think of Dream Theater, as I said in the intro, and a dramatic turn of events, because these albums were within a year of each other. And, you know, the guys that I was hanging out with at the time, you know, we were having a lot of conversations about Derek. You know, I'm a Derek fan. Derek Sheridan fan. I think what he's done is fantastic, and the way that he got kind of pushed out of Dream Theater. Well, yeah, that was a bit. That's another story. But for me, bro, this is Derek saying, "Hey, I'm sticking my nose in here on this." I think the opening track is fantastic. Bent's made some comments in the chat about it as well. He's saying it's definitely a banger. For me, definitely it's a 10 out of 10, bro, and it's never a skip.
Yeah. Awesome. Guys, throw your rankings in the chat if you wish, and you've got them. Feel free. If not, rank them on the fly. You're welcome to do that as well if you haven't done your homework. Man in the Middle. Andrew, this song is absolute cracker. It's got that real groove, heavy riff, sort of leads the charge, real reminiscence of 70s hard rock, in my opinion. It's got a very catchy chorus. You know, Glenn Hughes' vocals are so full of attitude. His bass playing is tough. He's locked so tight into the drum groove as well. And I think the wonderful thing about Glenn Hughes on bass and Jason Bonham on drums is there's a natural swing and soulfulness there. You know, Glenn Hughes is a soul player as well. He loves soul music, and, you know, part of his career is soul music. So his bass playing leans that way. Yeah, he's got a lot of soul in his playing. And obviously with Jason Bonham's dad, you know, John Bonham being soulful, swinging king that he was, it's rubbed off, and they just got a phenomenal rhythm section feel on this song. It's the actual driving part of this song, as much as the guitar riff, is the bass and drums, without a doubt. I love that feel. It's grooving. It's got a bit of a Zeppelin feel to it. It's got a catchy melody and chorus. Bonamass's lead work is sharp. He's got a lot of, you know, fiery pentatonic runs with melodic control as well. It's a thick, crunchy guitar tone. It drives the song, gives it a lot of raw power. The vibe of the whole song has got a dark, bluesy, hard rock vibe. And for me, again, 100 out of 10, Andrew, and never a skip. The first two tracks, you know, absolute ball terrors. And I remember, you know, the first two tracks, I didn't really breathe when I put the album on for this first time, because I was just like, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. And it's almost like, for me, these two tracks, first and second track, by that you need to take a nap. You've just listened to something that's quite incredible, Andrew.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, and I think, again, Derek, not Derek, we're talking about Derek in the chat with Bent. Bent makes a really, really interesting comment, and I've made a similar comment here too. This is where this band is trying to be, at the time in 2010, being relevant and, you know, having that push forward. I agree with you, bro, that there's some Led Zeppelin there, but definitely got that Rage Against the Machine vibe coming too behind it, you know. But also, what was the band that went on and became with gosh, the guy that passed away, the lead singer?
Audio Slave.
Audio Slave as well, you know, has that chunkiness. And I've got that written down here as well too, bro, that muscular drive, you know, which really dovetails nice to that melodic kind of piece that we were getting with the first track. And then we're
Yeah.
getting this chunky thickness coming through, this pushing forward, the bass and the drums. Unfortunately, folks, I'm going to be going second behind the backdoor man. So I promise I won't repeat everything that he says because there's going to be some kind of crossover. But I'm sure we're all coming from the same place. But I agree with you, bro. I think it harks back to tradition, but also has that nasty meanness of some relative grind going on as well. And the fact that these guys are doing it and Joe Bonamassa is part of it, it's just incredible. So like you, bro, I've given it, well, you 10 out of 10, bro. I'm not going to, because there's a couple of other great songs coming, but 10 out of 10 for this one. Love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, the next track is track 3, The Battle of Hadrian's Wall, and it's got a folky sort of influenced acoustic vibe intro to it, which transitions into a real Zeppelinish sort of epic. I keep saying Zeppelinish epic, but it's
That's
there.
cool.
You can't get away from it, Andrew. It's there. You know what I mean? Bonamassa takes lead vocals on this song, and
they set the benchmark. Sorry for interrupting.
I know they did set the benchmark, and you're 100% correct. And Joe Bonamassa's lead vocals here are it's very storytelling like. He's got that vibe about him where he's telling a story, but his vocals are so strong and they stand up, next to Glenn Hughes's vocals remarkably well. And I think that's the wonderful thing about the two of them singing together. Joe Bonamassa has a fantastic voice within his own right. So they blend really, really well together with, Glenn Hughes being the voice of rock and Joe Bonamassa being what I would consider to be the voice of blues right now. Andrew is one of the absolute walking legends amongst us. So there's a dynamic shift from mellow to haunting verses to big, grand, dramatic sort of choruses as well. I love the contrast between the acoustic and the electric guitars. That they've recorded it so well, Andrew. It's done so well. The bass work from Glenn is incredible. Jason Bonham, his drumming is remarkable. Colourful overdubbing on this song. There's a little bit more overdubbing on this song, Andrew, with the guitars and vocals and whatnot. So there's a fair bit of colour added with overdubbing, but you can still feel that live energy, which is fantastic. This song is like a bit of a journey into the past when you listen to it. Sounds like you're listening to something epic off a album, almost like Led Zeppelin 3 or Physical Graffiti, maybe. I'm just going to say it like that. Sounds like something that would come from one of those directional albums. Love the guitar soloing from, love the soloing from Jobo. I call him Jobo, Joe Bonamassa. He's an incredible guitarist, Andrew. And, what can I say? It's a 10 out of 10 for me and never a skip. Andrew.
Jobo. Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well done, Jobo. I'm gonna pinch that, bro. I'm gonna do some social media shit with Jobo, bro. Look, Brad said it all. One of the great things about doing this show with these guys and with you fine people here, in the chat, is that the archaeology of the music that we're talking about digs deep. There's this vertical penetration that's just a deep dive into the music, and Brad has nailed it for you. And I'm not going to repeat that, so go and check it out. But it's one of my favorite tracks ever of Jobo. I think his vocals on this track, bro, is just incredible. And the fact that, there's a few years that have passed since this album has come back. I mean, since this album was released, it's incredible that if he'd stopped recording, we'd be going, wow, this guy's a great vocalist. You know what I mean? but I love the way that he's singing on this album, and this track in particular is just fantastic. The acoustic guitars, I just love that, and Brad has told you the reason why we love the acoustic guitars on rock albums. There's a long history, and it's really, really sweet. Yeah, that's the word that I've got here. It's a sweet thing to experience when you've heard two crashing rock and roll tracks and you hear this track, bro. This is fantastic. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And at the 3-minute 24 mark, you got the acoustic coming in, and there's a little bit of slide guitar there, bro, on the end. Does it sound like a
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he's playing slide on the acoustic, not a resonator, but there's definitely a slide going on there. Look, I think the track is fantastic, bro. I love it. I've given this a Brad score, bro.
Ooh. I changed mine from a Brad score to a 10 out of 10. I changed it today. But I can't have 3 back to back. But
well, that's our show, bro. We can do what we want.
It's the Andrew and Brad show.
Yeah, I love it.
Track 4, mate. Track 4, Save Me. I love a lot of songs that are titled this, Save Me. There's a few bands. There's a band called The Tea Party that does a song called Save Me. I love that. But this song, obviously, is their own song. It's a slow burning, doom-laden riff, which dominates this track. I've put it's melodic. It's got a melodic vocal line that adds contrast to the heavy instrumentation of the song. The song's bridge and outro solo showcases Joe Bonamassa's blues phrasing meets hard rock approach. So I'm trying to be clear. He's not just playing blues. He's playing a lot of progressive rock and hard rock sort of stylings on this song. Joe is truly a modern day guitar legend. I've put that. This song highlights that. You can't get away from it, Joe. Sorry, Jobo. You're a legend, mate. I know you don't let your ego run away with you, mate. But I think, this album in particular is a highlight for me of some of your playing, and this song is one of them. The keyboards are outstanding, Andrew. Glenn's voice is incredible as usual. There is such a driving bass and drum sort of energy in this song that the rhythm section, being the bass and the drums, are tighter than a fish's bum. I've got to say that. They're tight. They're so locked in, you couldn't wedge anything between them. They're tight. The overall feel of this is modern, slashed with Sabbath, slashed with Zeppelin. I've put that. Catchy chorus and melody. The outro change in tempo and feel is epic. Bonamassa plays a lot of expressive and leans heavily on double tracking guitars. Very Tony Iommi vibe, not in the playing, but the way it's tracked. I'll say that. You know what I'm talking about, Andrew, on the Black Sabbath first album, Sleeping Village and things like that. There's a lot of dual guitar soloing and the panning. Don't know if that's intentionally meant to do the Black Sabbath vibe or not, but his playing on there is very expressive and leans heavily on that instead of overplaying. I've given the song, Andrew, 10 out of 10, and it's an absolute rock classic. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not going to dwell much on this because, bro, again, you've nailed it. But I have got that solo, so I agree with you. You know, Joe Bonamassa, Jobo, hashtag Jobo. So we're going to go with that. Hashtag Jobo. Start a movement, as the Digital Guitars said. Going to start a movement. Apparently Jobo doesn't mind coming on fans' YouTube shows too. So we might say, "Hey, Jobo, come on." Maybe we should ask him.
You've got an open invitation, Jobo. When you're watching this back, we're inviting you on. So come on and bring Glenn, bring the whole team if you want, or you can come on your own. No problem. As long as you don't mind us calling you Jobo on the show.
Oh, look, it's a credible song. And one of the great things that I like about this song is that it's a solid song, bro, and all the elements of the band are on this track, you know. So I'm not going to repeat. There's a couple of things there, bro, that you've already said. So, bro, I'm giving this 10 out of 10, and it's never a skip. But please, yeah, as Brad said, you know, Joe Bonamassa is staking his claim back in 2010, 2011 and I think sometimes we might forget that, you know, that he has rock guitar solos that can contest with the best of them, bro. He's not just a blues man.
No, he wears his influences on his sleeve. You know, he lets people know what his influences are, but Joe Bonamassa has his own thing going on as well. And I know people sort of might have the Eric Johnson thing, the Gary Moore thing, the this, the that. You can hear Hendrix, you can hear everything in his playing. I can hear a lot of stuff that people probably don't hear because he just plays what he loves, but he's made it his own. And Andrew, can I just throw that back to that guy you banned on the Pettigreen group? That's what makes a player become and have their own identity when they take other people's songs and make them their own at any level. So
exactly,
backs it up.
And people don't get it, you know. Do you want a line of clones all doing exactly what Peter Green and Joe Bonham? Oh, I don't.
No, you want something exciting. Not saying that, you know, Peter Green or Joe Bonamassa is not exciting because they are still current tense for Joe. But you want something you've never, oh, geez, this guy's got a bit of something different, you know?
Well, Brent Tom has made a comment, and I agree with him with this comment here, you know, that kind of reminds him of early Dream Theater. But would anyone say that Joe Bonamassa is imitating John Petrucci? Of course not.
He can't play like that. He plays like Joe Bonamassa.
No, exactly. Right. But if there's an influence there, if there's some archaeology there.
Yeah, well, another comment Ben Thomas just put there. Can you imagine if Eddie Van Halen would have just played like an exact copy of Eric Clapton? We wouldn't have got Eddie Van Halen being himself. So, yeah, unbelievable.
Sure.
Anyway, I didn't want to deviate too much, Andrew, because we've got a lot to get through. But I just wanted to back that up again. So the next track, I think we might do the next two tracks, Andrew, and then maybe show some pictures. What do you think? We'll do 5 and 6 and then show a few pics just to get a vibe.
Okay. Yeah, bro.
The next track, Smokestack Woman. It's a blues heavy groove riff. It's which really kind of defines the vibe of this track. It's got a lot of swagger in the vocal delivery from Glenn Hughes, and funky ass rhythm section creates that real 70s rock jam feel. It's got a big sing-along chorus, makes it one of the catchiest tracks on the album, actually. Bonamassa rips through like a searing guitar solo on this. I hear a lot of influences on the solo. I'm not going to bore everyone with that, but I love the wah pedal. We love Jobo. We love guitarists using a wah pedal on this channel. So, you know, I love that you employ the wah pedal and you use it properly. Some people use it incorrectly, but you use it like an actual expression pedal, which is fantastic. It's got a swampy, bluesy, high energy feel to it. And I gave it 9 out of 10, Andrew, and never a skip.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I remember looking at the CD when I bought the CD. Thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. Smokestack. Well, yeah, and I kind of had this vision in my head of what it might sound like before I checked it out, and I wasn't too disappointed. I'm going to make another parallel, bro. 2010, I was listening heavily to Richie Kotzen, bro. I had his 2010 album, his greatest. He kind of did a compilation album, and you go and check out the vocals on this. And Glenn, you know, Richie Kotzen could sing this song, bro. You know, this is there's a close similarity sometimes when Glenn sings with Richie Kotzen to my ear, and I just think it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Richie could pinch this song and put it in his set, and people go, "Wow!" It's really cool. Jobo's solo on this track is fantastic because he sounds really, really different on this track, bro. Is it because he's got high output pickups, or was he using another amp, do you think? Because his guitar is way different on this. So whatever he's doing, it's distinctive to my ear.
There's definitely something quite unique going on there. I know he's a big Eric Johnson fan, so if Ben Tom just took it out of, didn't answer the comments there, but it definitely sounds like some sort of fuzz face or something he employed to get that sort of squelchy, fuzzy sort of thing. The wah, obviously, yeah, Ben and an EQ, obviously there's probably an EQ in there as well, but definitely does sound like a fuzz in front of a crunchy amp, which is that real Hendrix thing. And Clapton used to do it with humbucking pickups, used to put a fuzz on and things like that. And back in that era, it was the fuzz pedal was almost back in the early days of Hendrix and Cream and stuff like that, fuzz pedal was kind of like a overdrive pedal. It kind of gave that sort of, and it does give that tone on a humbucking pickup, but I don't know what gear he's using on this particular song, Andrew. I'm not sure. With Joe Bonamassa, it could be one of 50 or 100 different vintage guitars. So only Joe would be able to tell you that. But
and he's pretty good.
Yes.
He's pretty good, mate. I've seen a lot of videos over the years, bro, and he can tell you, when you interview that dude, you got to be switched on. That video that I shared with you at about the 25-minute mark, he growls he doesn't growl, but he kind of tells the interviewer off, like, is this over your head or something? Is this too much for you to understand?
Yeah. He's got a lot of but the humor is directed at things too sometimes with Joe Bo. Yes, Ben, I reckon it's definitely like that Mick Ronson thing as well. I forgot Mick Ronson and Bowie, that Bowie era and that Mott the Hoople sort of thing, but more Bowie with a fuzz in there with the Les Paul and stuff like that. But I use a fuzz pedal with a Les Paul at times too, and it sounds very aggressive, very aggressive. It's a unique tone. It's a unique tone.
Yeah, 100%. And he's rocking it on this. So, bro, I'm giving this. I've got, like you, 9 out of 10, bro.
Yeah,
9 out of 10.
Well done.
Yep, but it's never a skip.
Yeah,
don't ban me.
No, it's never a skip. My son really loves that song, Smokestack Woman. He loves all of them anyway. But song 6, and then we'll show some photos, I think. So song 6 is called Faithless. It's like a mid-tempo groove rocker. It's moody, and it's got a brooding sort of atmospheric sort of feel to the song. Song builds into like a huge chorus, and Glenn Hughes belts out some emotional vocals. Jason Bonham's drumming is very dynamic on this song, transitioning between restrained grooves and then some explosive drumming when these drum fills are really like cannons going off. They're phenomenal. Derek's keyboards, a lot of texture and a lot of prog rock sort of touch to this one, Andrew, with his keyboards approach. Joe Bo, his guitar work is truly next level. I love the orchestration, the orchestral feel of the song. There is some strings or something there, or if it's not strings, it's really well arranged keyboard parts. I can't really tell, but it's that orchestral feel is really quite amazing on this song. The outro is a change of pace as well, and the outro guitar playing is drenched in effects, but it doesn't take anything away from it, Andrew. If anything, it adds to the brilliance of what's being played there by Joe. And that's one thing, Joe can play straight into an amp, or he can play with a whole pedal board full of pedals, as you've probably seen some of his gear rundowns and stuff like that, rig rundowns and that. And he can utilize effects properly, and he gets a phenomenal sound. I would say Kevin Shirley would have had a lot to do with the effects, what was going on there, and really giving that atmospheric sort of dramatic, slow burning sort of rock feel. I gave this one 9 out of 10, Andrew. Faithless, never a skip.
Yeah, bro, it's a great track. For me, what really stands out on this track is Glenn's bass riff at the start. I love it. Bent's made a comment here. He loves the distorted bass on this track. So do I. And the solo is fantastic on this track as well. Bonamass is on fire. And I hope that, our show here on Black Country Communion, reminds people, that there is another part to Jobo. There's other arrows in his quiver, bro. And I had some smiles on my face when I was listening to this over the last, couple of weeks, actually, since we've been had this one locked in. But I've given this 8 out of 10, bro. And that's a good score.
Yeah.
It's a good score. It's never a skip, but I love Glenn's bass on this. I think he's an exceptional bass player, and he's up there with a lot of them. It's never a skip, bro.
Yeah, no, good score, and well done, Andrew. All right, so we've got some photos to share, Andrew. There's not many, but there's a few there just to give a bit of a vibe and whatnot. So you want to present some of those photos? I think we've shown the album cover, but maybe worth showing it again. Oh yeah, sponsors.
Yep, sure. Yeah. So this part of the show is sponsored by our merch store. We have a merch store, folks, that's attached to the channel. There is some money that we do get back if you do decide to buy a t-shirt. We do make a few dollars on t-shirt sales, and we urge you to go and check those out, please. And we also offer a cup. And over the next couple of months, I'll put up a couple of other designs. We might do a hashtag Jobo design, bro. Who knows? Copyrighted by the Backdoor Man, but we urge you to go and check that out, please.
Yeah. Joe might get upset. He might come after me. You don't know.
He might like it.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, the album cover, song titles. Oh, I don't know, Andrew. I love the day of when CDs and albums were released, and you could, you'd pull it out, Andrew, and you'd pull the liner notes out and have a look through it. It's a lost art. Just a few photos here. This one's a live shot. Obviously, it's around that era, Andrew, maybe around the Country Communion too. You can usually tell by Glenn Hughes's hairdo. That's predominantly, how I've sort of always looked for photos around that period, because some of the photos you find floating around, they're not dated and you're not sure, but you can always get
how dark his hair is too, because he dyes his hair. He'll have it light brown, and then he'll dye it jet black, bro.
Yeah. He's a bit of a groover.
He's a groover, bro. Look at him there. Look at him.
Yeah. It's a great pic. I love that one. I think we may have shown that on the Black Country Communion 1 album, but when we showed some photos. But it's a great photo to show the chemistry of Jobo and Hughesy, Glenn Hughes and Joe Bonamassa. They've got that's the group there. Obviously, far right, that's Jason Bonham. You've got Jobo, Glenn Hughes is second to left, and Derek Sherinian on the left there. So 4-piece band, and they sound phenomenal, really. Again, Jobo with his hair slicked back. Glenn Hughes looking ultra cool there, man. What a cool look he's got going on there with that leather jacket and the scarf and the whole bit, mate. Jason Bonham there, he's got the tough trucker look, like a punch your lights out if you don't like my music. And Derek's there on the far right, just looking ultra cool. I like this photo shoot. I think this was a good one. Joe always looks good in the glasses like that, Andrew. Those I call them the Jobo glasses, mate. The Jobo glasses. Yeah, it's a good shot. And Glenn Hughes is always the showman in every photo shoot. He's always got the pout, the rock attitude. Yeah, it's hard to believe this guy's been around for so long. He's just such a youthful energy, and he brings such a remarkable youthfulness to the band. You know, it's incredible, and he still sings incredibly well, just incredibly well. But that's a pretty cool stage set, Andrew. You know, a couple of marshals on the right. You know,
Not bad.
Too big. I think now Glenn Hughes is using orange amps. I'm pretty sure he's using orange amps. But that's a really classic shot. You know what I mean? Classic shot of Glenn Hughes and Jobo around that sort of live in Europe sort of era. I think around there somewhere. It's a pretty cool one. These look very cool. There's a lot of photos of Joe Bonamassa and Glenn Hughes together, but I couldn't find a photo of them live with all four of them. It was very difficult. You get Jason in the background, but they focus heavily on Jobo and Hughesy for some reason, because they're so animated too, probably. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. And Ben Tom, the Marshall Jubilees, yes, that's a big part of Joe Bonamassa's tone, in my opinion, is Marshalls, which are, should I add, pretty much what I've got here. Because that's pretty much the JCM Slash is the Jubilee Marshall. Really, that's all it is. So, these photos, Andrew, it's always very cool to see your heroes viewing your stories, and I thought it would just be cool to show Joe Bonamassa. Glenn Hughes looked at my story for today's show, and Glenn Hughes sent 4 black love hearts, the first story I shared, and he sent me a lightning bolt today like that, and so that's pretty cool. I have sent him a little private message there. As you can see at the very top there, I put kind regards, Brad Cook. I was inviting him to come on the show. So, you know, at any time, Glenn Hughes, if you want to come on the show, we'd be more than honored to have you on. Same goes for any member of the band, Jason Bonham, Joe Bonamassa, Derek Sherinian. You're more than welcome on the show. We've got, you know, over 10,000 subscribers, and, you know, we want you guys on the show. We'd love to get you on. So,
and we're just fans. We're just fans. So you gotta ask the question. Gotta ask the question. But you would love you to come on and take the stage.
And you know, you're welcome to have a look at some of the other interviews we've done with other stars and heroes of ours. We've got some pretty good ones there. You can have a look at how we run the questioning. We probably do it very similar, Andrew, to maybe how we did with Philip Says. We maybe pre-record it, and then so we can focus on the questions at hand and make the guest feel a bit more comfortable, and that could be a way of doing it. So whichever way they want to do it, that's perfectly fine by us. So we'll get back to the rankings, Andrew.
Okay, right.
Okay, so we're up to track 7, An Ordinary Sun. Now, this, in my opinion, it's an epic song, Andrew. It's got like a real progressive rock infused, you know, vibe to it. It stretches out past 7 minutes long. Joe Bonamassa's got like more of a clean, melancholic sort of intro, sets it up really well to a really powerful, emotive song. The song transitions, like as you said then, soft verses and huge choruses. Joe is truly a phenomenal singer. And like I said before, he definitely holds his own in this song. Great meaningful lyrics. Joe's, you know, on Live in Europe, he talks about that, I think, this song in particular. The bass playing on this, Andrew, is some of the best bass playing on the record, in my opinion. Phenomenal. The backing vocals are stellar. I haven't spoken about the backing vocals enough on this record, but they're stellar on this particular song. The keyboards from Derek are atmospheric. I'll put here brilliance. There's just an atmospheric brilliance going on there with the keyboards, and wonderfully placed positioning, keyboard parts. The drums are incredible from Bonham. I love that bridge section where Glenn Hughes sings, and it takes you back to a little bit more of the Deep Purple days where Coverdale would sing the song and Glenn Hughes would sing a bit, and back to Coverdale. And it's just something magic about that, having a band be able to do that, Andrew, don't you think? Like to have a band that's so versatile that the bridge section, Glenn goes, I've written a bridge, so I'm going to sing that. That's very Beatles-like too. You know what I mean? Like John would write a song and Paul would go, well, I've got the middle bit. And then John would go back and finish the end, like A Day in the Life. You know what I mean?
That's a point that I've made here at that 3:40 mark, where Glenn comes in. It's just, when I first heard it and hearing it again, because I do listen to this album on a regular basis. It's just, fantastic, bro. But I never thought of it like that. But so that's just added more height and width to the song, that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Well, it's an incredible bridge section. I'll let you talk more about that. It's a wonderful, soulful keyboard solo from Derek on this song. And I'm glad that, this album, it seems to be a little bit more of Derek shining on this one than the first record, Andrew. Derek was more the color section on the first record, where this one is standing out a little bit more as a lead instrumentalist as well.
Correct.
So his solo on this is phenomenal. And the guitar solo on this from Jobo, I mean, I could go on about it for days, but it's pretty much one of the best solos on the album. It's balancing his technical skills, Andrew, with that raw emotion. And can I say I've always loved this song, Andrew, but the last 2 weeks of, really focusing heavily on this album, this has become probably my favorite song on the album. And I had to give it nothing less than 100 out of 10. It's a brilliant song. And, Joe Bonamassa is a remarkable musician. That's all I can say. The whole band is, but this is a remarkable song. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm not going to add much to what you've already said, because I think you've nailed it. Because of your appreciation of the song over the last couple of weeks. So I'm only going to say Joe Bonamassa's vocals on this track is incredible. I love Glenn's contribution to this song, and I'm going to back you up with Derek Sheranon's involvement and his contribution to this song. I couldn't put it much better. From the first album to this album, where you can hear and experience where Derek is going on this. And the guy's an accomplished musician, don't get me wrong, but it's probably how he felt within the nucleus of this group too, because we know the history of rock and roll's also about the space that a band gives you as a musician, and sometimes you have to fight for that. It's not always given to you. You've got to create and push your arms out, and I think you've nailed it well with this. He's certainly, whatever's happened, it's definitely come to a point on this album where it's like fantastic, and I can hear that. And again, I have to agree with what Bent said earlier at the top of the show. We are Derek fans. The greatest albums that Dream Theater ever did were with Derek. So yeah. Look, bro, and I agree with your sentiment about how some other tracks have ascended in your opinion, because there's a couple to come which have definitely done it for me, bro. I've given this a 9 out of 10, bro, and it's never a skip and a great way to open side 2. But we wouldn't have appreciated, you don't realize that this is a side 2, because this was a CD era thing. So you're just listening to. But if the rock professor was here, he would remind us. He would remind us that this is side 2.
Yeah, we miss you, Rock Professor. We're sliding, we're slipping up without you here, Simon. We need you back ASAP.
Great way to start side 2.
Yeah.
Cheers, bro.
So the next song is called I Can See Your Spirit. And look, it's a straight up high energy hard rock song. It's got a chugging guitar riff and a driving sort of rhythm section just thriving this song. Glenn Hughes's vocals are particularly raw and aggressive. He's leaning a little bit towards his trapeze days here on his vocal approach, in my opinion. The chorus is catchy. It's ferocious. John Bonham's drums. My beg your pardon, Jason Bonham's drums. John Bonham's son. I'll get shot for saying that. Jason Bonham. Hey, the Led Zeppelin community will come down on me like a ton of bricks. I can't say that. Mr. Jason Bonham's drummings is relentless. He's a phenomenal drummer. And Jobo, he delivers a fiery, wire-drenched guitar solo. We love the wah pedal. Keep it coming, Jobo. And I think the whole song has a classic rock vibe. It's adrenaline-fueled, and it's got a hard rock thing going on there too, Andrew. Let's be honest. It's not just a classic rock thing. It's got a lot of hard rock energy to it too as well. I gave it a 9 out of 10, Andrew, and never a skip.
Yeah, I too, bro, gave it a 9 out of 10, and I'm going to tell you why, because I think this is where they decided this is going to be our Led Zeppelin song, guys. This is, you know, we've described already here how, you know, musicians and artists will do an archaeology and deep dive vertically. But sometimes you get together as a collective and say, hey, you know, we don't know if this happened, but we're just assuming, you know, let's do a Led Zeppelin riff song. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. This is how it's going to go, Brad. And Brad will go away. Oh yeah. And Brad's going, suckers. This isn't Led Zeppelin. This is Brad Cook. But you know, you know, but you can imagine that, eh? You get, and you know, and then the rest of the band's buying into it, and then somehow it's presented to us as the public as a Led Zeppelin inspired song, which is not a bad thing. Yeah. Not a bad thing. When any comparison is made to Led Zeppelin on this show, remember that is one of the highest compliments you'll ever get. Can we be clear there, bro?
They're the benchmark. You said it before, Andrew.
Yeah. So when we make any comparisons to Led Zeppelin, that's good. So and for me, I think this is where they've got together. Look, I love the riff, and it's the riff that gets it for me. And again, another fiery solo, bro, from Joe Bo, Joe Bonamassa, but no, it's Joe Bo now. And I too, bro, have given it 9 out of 10 as well. So
yeah,
well done, bro.
Yeah, well done. Which we're up to. So we're up to Little Secret. This is perfectly positioned, Andrew, on the album. This song, it's a change of pace. It's a laid-back blues-infused rocker. It's got like a smooth feel to it. The groove is very laid back and smooth. I love it. The song has a soulful vocal delivery, which is a bit different to the rest of the vocal approach on the album, and I love it. It's got more of the delicate size of Glenn Hughes' voice. Obviously, the mix of blues, rock, and funk elements in this song make it a standout. Like it's got everything there, but Joe Bonamassa's melodic lead guitar work is restrained and deeply expressive. Can I go as far as saying I think Joe Bonamassa always tries his hardest to not play like Gary Moore, but on this song I'm hearing Gary Moore through and through. It's there. I know Joe, when Gary, you know, God rest his soul, was alive, There was always this thing of, the next Gary Moore, this and that, and Gary had said a few things about Joe and this and that, but I think there was a mutual, yes. Okay, we can reference that if you like, Andrew, after this. But yeah, so basically what I'm saying is I'm hearing Gary Moore a lot referenced here in his lead playing. It's all about what melodic notes and the expression for me, and that is Gary Moore to a T when he was playing anything like Person Walkways, still got the blues, anything like that. So yeah, it's there. This is, like I said, a change of pace for the record. By this point in the record, when you're listening to it, you're sort of craving a bit of a change, and it comes in at the right time. It's the third last song, not the second last song, Simon. It's the third last song. Yeah. And it's a great change of pace. And overall, it's a smooth, groovy blues rock song. You know what I mean? It's got that vibe, Andrew. I gave it 9 out of 10 and never skip. Initially, Andrew, I will say this, I gave it 7 out of 10. But I bumped it up because I've kept falling in love with this one the more I listen to it.
Okay, bro, this is where we're going to have a little bit of conversation, if that's okay, because this track here is just incredible in my ears and in my mind. If we were ranking this album when it first came out in 2011, I'd probably, in all honesty, would have, in comparison to every other song that we've just discussed, I would have probably given this 7, bro. I probably would have back in the day because I just couldn't quite back then make my adjustment to the music that, consumes me now. But listening to this track, and I know this track well, so I have to back you up on your comparison there to Gary Moore, who's just a huge influence on my life as a guitar player and as a music fan, and yours. We've done a lot of shows on Gary Moore and the Rock Professor. Bent Thomas said definitely Gary Moore. And again, that's just incredible. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. I absolutely adore this song, bro. And the more I listened to it over the last couple of weeks, I took this from about an 8.5, maybe a 9, to a 10 out of 10, bro. I just think this song is incredible. Yeah. Listening to it again, it's a perfect place for this song. The track listing is just perfect on this album.
Yeah, that would have been Kevin Shirley for sure. That would have been his. Yeah,
100%. I absolutely adore it. Joe Bonamassa, his vocals, that guitar tone. Wow.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, bro.
Yeah, awesome. It's a great track. And, I think overall it's a credit to the band when they can do an album of all these belters and still have the ability to pull one back like Little Secret and just really sit back there. And be a little bit more soulful as well. So well done, guys. It's a great track. Crossfire is track 10. This one is, my son loves this song. And every time we get in the car and we're dropping into the bus or something, and needs a bit of a pump up, he puts this song on. And I don't know why he loves this one so much. But I do know why he loves it so much. Sorry, that was a silly thing to say. But it's a dramatic sort of mid-tempo rocker. It's got a lot of emotional weight to it. It's got like a very sparse sort of verse and then explodes into a powerful chorus, and it's very catchy, melodic, incredible vocals here. Derek's keyboard work adds that cinematic feel to the song. Jobo's solo is melodic and soaring. He's up there with the Eagles on this one, Andrew. And it adds to the song's, how large the song sounds. Again, the wah pedal is employed, and I'm hearing a lot of his heroes in his playing here again. It's emotional, dramatic, soaring. It's a 9 out of 10 for me, Andrew, and never skip.
Andrew. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I've given. I'm just changing the format a little bit lately on this ranking with you, bro. I'm giving you my scores first before I give my discussion. But I agree with you. I've given this a 9 out of 10 too, and I once again just reminding you folks that we do read the comments as well as listen. You know, we're getting good at it now. We've been doing this for a long time now. We can do it. So when people say that men can't read and talk and write at the same time, okay, we can.
Yeah.
But look, I agree with what Ben's saying. This is where they're not deliberately doing a Led Zeppelin song. It's just the fact that you've got these great artists. You said it at the beginning of the show, bro. You know, this is a super group. Let's be very, very clear what we're talking about here. We're not talking about 5 guys or 4 guys or 3 guys from Hamilton, New Zealand, or Melbourne, Australia, or from London. You know, we're talking about guys, firmly established musicians and other acts, giant acts, bro, you know, coming together. So they're going to do something. And, you know, I don't have a problem with it sounding Led Zeppelin-y. You said Joe Bonamassa's got some inspiration behind him from these English guys. He's never hidden that. No. He's never, ever hidden that. In fact, I can't wait for you and I and the Rock Professor to do that Blues Explosion album that he did in 2018 that we keep talking about. You know, there's 20 other albums that he's done for us to be doing. Oh, my gosh. But, you know, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there one day. I love the song, bro. Cool riff. And I, too, like I said to you, gave it 9 out of 10. And I remember distinctly when I was looking at the song list in Crossfire, I had in the back of my mind, are they going to be doing a Stevie Ray Vaughan song? You know, yeah.
If I see a song title that I've heard before or whatever, like say, you know, Crossfire, I'm thinking, oh shit, have they covered Stevie Ray Vaughan's song? You know, yeah. But no, I love that. They do their own thing, and it's amazing. I just wanted to say thank you to Helena O'Hara for the super chat. Thank you very much. I don't know, did we address that, Andrew? I think
too busy talking, bro.
Yeah, it popped up in the chat there, and I did see it pop up, but then we got sidetracked, and that's why we normally have Simon to accommodate these things and pull us up and correct us and discipline us. Yes. So
thank you, Helene,
for that. We really appreciate it. We never expect it. It's a wonderful thing.
So, bro, I'm going to interrupt. So I'm an example where I said before how a man can read things and talk and keyboard at the same time.
You just effed up, mate. You just effed up. Hey,
we can't.
Yes, I am looking through a lot of the comments here. There's some wonderful comments there from Helene, Ben Tom, everyone there. So thank you so much. And I will say it again, Jimmy Ray Hawkins and Helene O'Hara, thank you so much for your super chats. We really appreciate it. We really do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps run our channel.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah, it certainly does. It all helps. So we come up to the last song on the album, Andrew, and the album closer is a melancholic sort of soulful piece. I'm hearing things like in this song like Bad Company, Free, maybe more Bad Company. Vocally, you know, Glenn Hughes' performance, it's like he's releasing pain and passion at the same time. His bass playing is incredible. The clean, reverby, heavy guitars that give that haunting, spacious, atmospheric feel is so well done. Again, Jobo demonstrates how to play guitar for a song, you know, giving the lead work flavor and texture to color the song, but obviously some amazing playing at the same time. Great keyboards. The songs build up to that climatic ending leaves that lasting impact for the album. I think the whole vibe of the song is soulful, emotional. It's a perfect closing track for the album, and it's an absolute cracker of an album. I gave it 9.5 out of 10, Andrew, and never a skip.
Bro, I don't agree with you. We don't have a similar score on this one. This is definitely one track over the last couple of weeks, bro, that has had a huge effect on me. And I don't normally, on the whole, when you think of albums in the context of 10 songs, 6 songs, or 8 songs, the last song generally, isn't one that I would rank high in the scheme of things. But this one here, the intro solo is amazing. The drums, and then you've got the delicate keys of Derek there, which just gives it that wonderful thing to balance and float on, and the vocals. And then at the 4-minute 30 mark, mate, you've got an incredible solo. You know, I don't know what we were listening to in 2011, but I think this band was pretty much doing this independently from a lot of other bands. You know, they had that pop element, that progressive element, and that rock stuff coming through, blues. Mate, I probably, again, I've mentioned it before, in 2011, I probably would have given this an 8 out of 10, but jeepers, this is my Brad score, bro. I just think this track is just phenomenal. It's epic and it's incredible.
Yeah, that's an absolute cracker of a track. I'm glad that we're very
similar. Solo.
Oh, mate, incredible. And again, like you said, this song, I have to back you up there. The slowest stuff on this record, maybe, in my younger days or when this album came out, I was more after the Man in the Middle and things like that. I was more after that from this band. But the more you dive into an album and deep dive it like you do, the more you sort of find these little gems become your favorites and you can't wait to hear them. So I'm actually going to go through and make a playlist of all these sort of songs like Cold and everything. So when you're driving along in the car, it's late at night, coming back from a gig, you don't want to listen to anything too full on, but you want to listen to music like that, you just throw it on and it's all stuff like Cold, because it's got that real atmospheric sort of thing going on. It's such a great song. So I'm glad we're on the same path, Andrew, and there was no real timeouts or anything like that.
No. Well, there's never going to be with this band, and Joe Bonamassa for me, when that Blues Deluxe came out, a long time ago, we've spoken about that, and he produces, we're going to have to do a Joe Bonamassa playlist too, bro, on the channel, because there's a few now that we've done, including Black Country Communion. But I look at the guy and I hear him and I see the guy and I love watching his gear videos, and I love the way, excuse me, I've got the hiccups, the way that he talks about his gear and guitars. He talks with passion and you learn shit, so he's telling us recently why he has 3 or 4 different amplifiers so that the sound doesn't collapse into itself. So he has an amplifier for the middle, for the highs, and for the lows. Yeah. And he's only doing that for himself, bro. For him, because he has to hear that. So if he's not hearing that, he's not going to go out there and perform. Whereas most other guitar players will go, okay, I'll just be happy with this amp, and get out there and play. And I have read comments with people over the years where they say, oh, well, if you can afford to have all these amps, well, of course you're going to play them. Stop making excuses why you play them. But when you think about what he says, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, he's Jobo. He can do whatever he likes, Andrew.
Oh, well, I agree with you. I agree with you. He can, but there's a reason why. There's a reason why he has these different amps, and and in his mind, bro, he thinks, because he talks about his fans often. You know, that video that we were talking about earlier on the show, where he mentioned it half a dozen times during that interview with that guy. People bought tickets to come and watch us.
Mm. That's right. And that's I've always said that to every band I've ever been in. You got to remember, you know, people are going out of their way to come and see you. You got to put on a show. You know what I mean? You got to put on the best performance you can that you're capable of doing. That's it. So, but well done.
Oh yeah. So, sorry, bro. That dumbbell. So he goes up to the dumbbell. He's got that dude. He's got the dumbbell going, and he's playing, and the reverb doesn't work. So he goes up to that amp and he bangs it a couple of times, and he turns around and goes, "Nothing a bang can't do on a $300,000 guitar amp." How many guys would go and smack a $300,000 amp?
No.
To get the reverb going.
Oh, jeez.
Mate, you wouldn't let anyone just touch. You wouldn't touch it.
Hey, you wouldn't even gig with it.
But he does.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, he's got all this gear, but he uses it, you know.
He's the man.
Yeah, he's a modern day legend, modern day hero. Yeah. But thanks for me bring that one out, Andrew, and rank that one. That was a fun one to rank. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed our show here today.
Thank you, bro. It's always a pleasure to catch up and do the Brad and Andrew show. We look forward to catching up with you next week. I think the Rock Professor's got the album picked for next week, bro, has he?
Yes, I do believe so, because you did the Cream one.
Cream, yes. So we'll let you know what's happening, folks. If you set the notification for the channel, we don't know what that is. Brad and I will have a chat with the Rock Professor. If the Rock Professor is not back next week, Brad and I will be back. We might rope John. We'll be doing something here on the channel next week anyway. So
we'll have a chat and we'll work something out regardless. So if the Rock Professor, if you watch this later, there's no pressure. If you want to do a show, great. If you don't, then the show will go on. We'll get something done. Don't worry.
Good night, Bent. Good night, Bent. Thank you for joining us, bro. And it's always a pleasure to have you come into the chat. And likewise, bro, you remember you've always got a permanent invite if you ever want to come on. So keep that in mind, bro.
I saw that you had a chat with Philip Sayes too. So yeah, very envious that you got to go and see him play, because as Andrew alludes to with other acts, we hardly ever see any of the international acts that we want to see because they never tour Australia or New Zealand. But anyway, goodbye, Ben. We'll talk about Philip Sayce another time.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's been a pleasure. Brad, bro, thank you again for doing a wonderful presentation, for that deep dive at the beginning of the show. It's always an extra special treat. We look forward to no, you don't. We look forward to hearing what people have to say about the show in the chat, and please do offer some comments, because it helps with our channel. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us, that's entirely up to you. But just when you disagree, be careful how you disagree. As John ZD351 said earlier in the show, play the ball, don't play the man.
100%. 100%. That's it, Andrew. Oh, wow. Yeah. Philip Sayce would sound like Philip Sayce playing through a PV Rage 108 practice amp with a Squire. He'd still sound like Philip Sayce.
All right, we're going to shoot off, folks. We're not going to do a shout out to everybody in the chat. You're important to us. We thank you for participating, and we thank you for the 2 super chats. Helene, thank you for supporting us, and also Jimmy Ray for the super chat earlier. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done already, and please go to our community page on the top and you'll see all our friends there. Please subscribe to them and let them know that the 5150 show sent you, and we'll be back next week. Are we out of here, bro?
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
You got pizza to cook, haven't you?
I got something to cook. I don't know what I'm cooking yet. Haven't started.
All right. You go and feed that boy. He's grown. Boy, he's changing. He's getting tall, isn't he? A couple of photos that you put on social media. You know, 1 minute he was down, now he's up here. Oh, my Lord.
Where the year's gone, mate, I turn around and he's already almost my height. He's got the drawn-in little adult-looking little face now. He's lost the chubby cheeks. I miss him so much. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We're out of here. See you, Elvis. We don't need Simon, bro, eh? We don't need him, bro. I think you and I, we can do this gig by ourselves, bro.
Yeah, I don't like it when he comes in and tells us what to do all the time.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you tell him. You can send him the message, bro. You can say, mate, you're out of here, all right? Can you do that for us?
I think you've already done the damage, Andrew. You're still recording. It's still live.